Okay, now we're ready. Okay, Clay, why did you want a metal roof in the first place?
Well, I've wanted a metal roof for a long time. I guess where I first saw them was in industrial applications. I work in the broadcast industry, and we had some buildings built, and I wanted a roof that I did not have to go worry about, because another word for roof is leak, and I wanted something that, number one, didn't leak. I wanted something that could handle the weather, and I live in a very windy environment here. And I wanted something I didn't have to worry about maintenance. I didn't have to go up and replace ridge caps every time the wind blew. So there was a number of reasons, and I like the looks of a metal roof. I remember my wife and I drove around Alpental many years ago, and we looked at all the beautiful little homes up there, and we noticed, I know they have snow here, and snow slides off of metal roofs, but golly gee, why wouldn't I want to have one of those too? So there you go. I hope that answered that question.
It does. So what made you, or how did you find Metal Roof Specialties, or what made you decide to work with them?
Well, I called around to a number of roofers, and when it was time to re-roof this house, and I asked for pricing on various roof products, and I included standing seam metal. And I found out that every one of them said, well, yeah, we can do a standing seam roof. And then I asked for, how many of that particular type did you do, tile or composition or whatever. And they were always humming and hawing about their capability, and it always makes me nervous. It's like taking your car into a mechanic, and he said, yeah, I've never worked on one of these before, but I think I can fix it. And that made me pretty nervous. So then what I did is I heard some of your advertising, and I said, Metal Roof Specialties. That sounds like the kind of people I want to talk to, because I knew when I went in to talk to you guys that you wouldn't be talking about tile and composition, but you knew something about metal, and I discovered you knew everything about metal, and you answered all of my questions, and I guess we just sort of hit it off, because awfully nice people. And you walk out of there with a nice warm fuzzy feeling and saying, why wouldn't I want to do business with these folks?
Oh. So now that you have your metal roof, what is your favorite part about the metal roof?
Well, the favorite part is something that I didn't expect. We live up on the bluff here in Auburn, and our house is facing to the southwest. And in the summer, we get blistering heat. It's hard for anybody to believe that we have a wall of glass here, and there's no trees, no shade, and it gets unbearably hot in the house. The first thing we did was replace all the windows with low E glass, and that helped a little bit. But then we put the metal roof on, and our metal roof is called zinc aluminum. It's kind of a bright color, but the reflecting characteristics of the roof are just understated. As I gave you a bad time earlier, I said you should be advertising this feature, because our house in the morning, what we'll do is we'll leave the doors open. If it's going to be like 80, 90 degrees, we'll leave the doors open in the morning so that we cool it off to about, say, 65. And then we can shut the house up, be gone all day long, and come back in, open the doors, and it's no more than 70 degrees in the house. Wow. It is absolutely amazing.
Wow.
The other story I like to tell is we have a storage unit in our attic, and it used to be that if you went up in the attic in the summertime, as I think I told you earlier, it would boil your brains. It was just incredibly hot. Anything that was ever stored in the attic melted. And now I can take an 85-degree day and go up in the attic, and it's tolerable. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really cool, and I mean that, really cool, because the house stays wonderfully cool in the summer. And in the winter, because they took and put the metal roof over the roof that was there, we still have all the insulation value that we always had. And one other thing I was going to tell you about, and a lot of people have asked me about the metal roof, they said, is it noisy when it rains? No, you don't hear it, but if it hails, you do. But I guess you would hear hail no matter what kind of roof you had. But hail here is a little noisier than hail with the old composition roof. But you don't notice it, you don't hear it. In fact, we go outside under our deck cover here, which is just bare metal, if we want to hear it hail or rain. this is where we hear the sound. We don't hear it in the house.
Okay. So, two more questions. And one is, what was the process like for you, or how did you feel about the process of getting them, especially when you did your deck roof, getting the material from Metal Roof Specialties, but having another contractor to work with to install it, and kind of having no salesperson involved, which is a little bit unique in the roofing industry?
Well, I do a lot of my own contract work anyway in the industry I'm in. I'm very familiar with going directly to a vendor or a supplier and not having to have an intermediate party. And for me, it's an advantage. The other thing, too, is I submitted, and I love the fact that you guys can work via email, because everybody does today, but not, well, I work with email, but not all the companies do. Sometimes you get deer in the headlights when I say, can you email that to me? They want to know what my fax number is. But what I would do is I sent pictures, drawings, sketches, what I wanted to do. You came back with the product and the cost, and I said, sold, I'll take it. We made the transaction. It was delivered to my driveway. The contractor that we selected came out and installed it, and it couldn't be better.
Awesome. Okay, last question, Clay.
Sure.
So if you were to do it over again, would you do it the same way, or is there anything you'd do different? Or
no, I wouldn't do anything different. I honestly wouldn't. I'm a very particular person. I'm an engineer by trade, so that tells you exactly what kind of mentality I've got. And engineers always look at a finished project and say, okay, that's great, but next time. And in my case, if I had to do it next time, I would repeat the process. And that is probably the sincerest form of flattery.
Well, thank you so much.